Hello, everybody. Let's see. Let's invite um more people. I have to invite some people on the back end. Let's see.
Hey, amigo.
What's up, man?
How are you?
Uh, Pretty good. I'm trying to invite some people in our little bubble back here.
Nice. Nice. You know what?
And I could put it here.
Oh, Ryan joined.
How are you?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Ryan, who just joined, is my he's my business partner, Dennis.
Oh, hi, Ryan.
Hi. Yeah. Ryan and I
How are
work on uh actually in-person relationships and and consulting and advisory work with
Well,
with you know uh
I didn't know that
very
was a
very
thing.
interesting, business to business companies and whatnot.
Interesting. I didn't know people did that anymore.
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Do you wear masks when you do that?
Did you wear a mask? No, no, we don't. No,
I had to throw that in there.
yeah, no
I
mask. No
couldn't help
masking.
it. Yeah.
No
So
masking.
anyway, did you have a great weekend?
I had a really great weekend. Yeah. I had a
Awesome.
had a really nice weekend. It was my mother-in-law's 70th birthday. And so
Which
so we
isn't so old.
no, she's great. So we had fun and had everyone was over here last night for that and all the kids and everything. So that was great. So
It's funny
we
when
had a nice time.
you're like 10 or 20 or 30 years old, you're like
Mm.
80, 70 is old. But as
Yeah.
you start getting older, like I'll
No,
be 54 in a few weeks.
no,
Like 90 is not that old.
no. Yeah, yeah. I know, man. And 70s, like it's 25 years off for me. So it's
It's
yeah,
only 16 years for me. Holy shit.
yeah, yeah. It's
So
wild. It's wild because I find as I get older, I don't I like I don't feel older. Like I don't know that I necessarily feel much different than maybe when I was like late 20s, 30. Like I feel learned a lot of lessons, hopefully I'm a better person than I was back then. Yeah,
it's funny how that
it's
goes. I remember my
yes.
grandfather telling me about that when he was about 90 at the
Mhm.
time,
Yeah.
which like 15 years
Mhm.
ago or so.
Yeah.
But he said his biggest thing, it was like his brain still feels like he's
Mhm.
like 20 or 30 years old, but
Yeah.
your body ages. But he said, because I like to think I'm on the 100-year plan. That's what
Okay.
I live.
Yeah.
I try to think, "Oh, okay, well,
Sure.
50 down, 50 to go," and then
Sure.
I try to live that way. But
Yeah.
what he said, which was really interesting and it impacted me quite a bit, is
Mhm.
that the biggest thing, because he was 94 when he died, and mostly he
Mhm.
could have lived to be 120, but he used to smoke
Yeah.
and drink a lot in the
Yeah,
50s and
sure.
60s. But he said, "There's no one left to reminisce with." You
Yeah.
know, and it
Yeah.
was interesting because when we
Yeah.
see old people, we
Yeah.
think like this black and white picture of a conservative life and like not doing
Sure.
anything. But he lived a very vibrant life.
Sure.
He had made millions in the 50s and 60s in New
Mhm.
Jersey. He hung
Mhm.
around with Frank Sinatra and the Rat Pack, and
Oh
he
my
had
goodness.
traveled to all
Stories,
the
man.
yeah. So
Wow.
he had an
Imagine the
amazing.
Substack he could have.
Totally, yeah, but nobody cares at that point. It was
Yeah.
really interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
what
That's
did you
interesting.
want?
Katie just commented too about that. She was thinking about it recently. It's funny. I have a grandmother. My only living grandparent is she's 97 years old, and she just had to go into an assisted living facility. Um, and my uncle, my dad's youngest brother, passed away recently. Through a battle with cancer. Um, and and it was, I've become, my mother passed away a couple years ago, and I've become like much closer with family, especially like my grandmother and like my dad's side of the family, both sides, but like especially them, in the years since mom passed. And it's this interesting thing watching, a woman in her mid 90s. She was 96 when my uncle passed away, and realizing that even though she was 96 when her son passed away, it was still the loss of a child, and going through that, and it's really it's uh it's been a really interesting experience. My uncle also had a his funeral we went to in Pittsburgh. He worked his whole life in affordable housing in Pittsburgh. Really interesting. He and his wife were very much involved in their church. They would say a life of really ministry is what they lived. And his funeral had 500 people showed up at it.
Wow.
500 people, gospel choir, like the what like how at some funerals like they give time for people to come up and say anything if they want to. Well, for an hour of the funeral, people just kept coming up and telling stories about my uncle. It was wonderful. It was a really wonderful event. But
And that's
anyway,
what we should all aspire to. Like, you wanna leave
sure.
it's not how much money you have. Steve Jobs was like, I don't wanna be the richest man in the cemetery. You just wanna know
Right.
we
Sure.
want to know that we made a difference, you know?
Yep.
And that's like what we're doing here is, like, trying to make a difference in people's lives,
Yeah.
and little by little each day, and, we have all these big lofty goals that we wanna get to, and what's
Hmm.
important is, like, who do you bring with you along the way?
Hmm.
And I try to live that way. I try to help people whenever I can, and
Yeah.
it's, it's fulfilling. It makes everything else more meaningful. So,
Yes.
what did you wanna talk about today? Do you have anything exciting and meant
Anything exciting?
or does anybody have
I yeah, so I'm curious what your take on this. I think it's something we're both probably thinking about quite a bit. But I've been writing and looking at looking at the world that we're living in, and what I write about relative to the operation of companies, um and I guess I'm just we spoke last week about the difference in our ambitions and in what we look at as success at this point in our careers. I'm 45. You're like an inch older than me. And so um and one of the things we talked about last week was that, if I went back to like 35-year-old John, or 30 like if I went back to 35-year-old John, I was thinking about how do I grow a company to 100 million in revenue. We did not quite get there. Got to about 75, but then and then sold it. But I was thinking in these kind of very large terms, and I was thinking about EBITDA and multiples, and all these big numbers. And I find then at 45, with a family, um, uh, that that my ambition is, if I'm larger than it's ever been, and then I'm more excited about what I'm building now and the company I'm trying to create now. But the company that I'm building now, a grand slam out of the park home run for this company would be, could I grow this to 10 million in revenue someday? 5 million. Like, how could I achieve that? Um and one of the things I learned when I was building a larger company is that sometimes you end up actually making more money when it's a smaller organization, because it gets bigger, it's more costly to manage, and you need to reinvest everything back into it. So you're kind of pushing towards this liquidity event or the sale or whatever it is. Um, and I find now that I am living a life of that's much more focused on balance, mostly because of children and marriage. Um, but the numbers are smaller. And I think there's so much talk about how to be a billionaire. And now it's trillionaire, right? Like, now it's like, oh, if Bill Gates had kept his Microsoft stock, he'd be worth this many. And Elon Musk is a trillion, whatever. And I just find that increasingly completely unrelatable, nor do I meet many people in the sphere in which we operate where that is even remotely what anyone's thinking about or pushing towards. And so I don't know. What do you think about that?
I think it's a great talk, and I think a lot of people need to hear it because it's well, one, it's not attainable or
Yeah.
sustainable. Even that level of push isn't even sustainable or even
Hmm.
really healthy. Not to mention that all of the people that you just mentioned, like when they didn't reach that status for like 40 years.
Hmm.
Nobody sees the backstory that gets them
Right.
to that point, and then we compare ourselves to that, which is the
Right.
cause of all the anxiety, the stress, the addictions, distractions, the
Sure.
broken marriages, and the
The
health
role that
problems.
luck played in a lot of it. In a lot of
Yeah,
it.
so it's
Yeah.
like I mean, I love that topic. I really think it's great for people to understand it, is that there's so much stress and anxiety around becoming successful, especially
Hmm.
when you these other and then maybe we're not talking that level. Like everybody
Hmm.
on Substack is watching a few people ahead of them,
Hmm.
maybe a little further ahead, like a bunch further, and they're like, "Wow,
Hmm.
I can't get there now. My life, I suck," and all this stuff. But you
Right.
don't suck, and that's attainable too. But the most important thing is like, what are your goals, right?
Right.
So, and this is why I always start with writing that down. It's like, well, you know, if you have a lofty goal of becoming a trillionaire, you really need to look at what that entails, and it's not pretty, and it's
Hmm.
really unhealthy. You have to live in the press and the media. You're under a microscope like a movie star or a
Hmm.
celebrity, and but the real truth is like most of us here
Hmm.
because we read about business, how to grow on Substack or LinkedIn or whatever, but we
Yeah.
also read wisdom. And
Hmm.
And in that wisdom, it's like, don't compare yourself to anybody else, but to who you are. And
Yes.
what are your goals? Well,
Yes.
if everybody's like, if your goal is to make $20 million, it's actually more achievable than you think if you spend
Mm-hmm.
wisely and keep pushing towards whatever it is you want to do.
Hmm.
But the truth is that's a big lofty goal. You don't need $20 million.
No.
If you wanna have security, a nice house, a really nice house, a car, maybe a couple cars, go on vacations, travel around the world. If you
Hmm.
have $5 million, that that's plenty of money to live on, to survive really and live a nice life. And that is really attainable in, like, if you buckle down and, we all have different circumstances, educations, backgrounds,
Hmm.
opportunities, but we all have to make our own opportunity
Hmm.
and possible to do if you set realistic goals. Now those could change along the way,
Hmm.
but I think it's important to set the right expectations to,
Hmm.
know, if you turn off the news, you're not gonna hear about the trillionaires and the billionaires and all that
No.
stuff.
No.
You're not a failure. In fact, my LinkedIn post today says, "Your life doesn't suck." It's a video that I found
Hmm.
on Facebook. It's
Yeah.
not gonna go viral. I don't
No.
care. It's really cool because I thought everybody thinks their life sucks because you
Hmm.
have these, uh these unreasonable expectations or you're comparing yourself to somebody who is in a completely different situation than you, and they have problems too.
Hmm.
So,
Hmm.
life doesn't suck. It's normal to eat at home every night. It's
Hmm.
normal to have a messy house.
Hmm.
It's normal to not upgrade your house,
Hmm.
uh, every year with $100,000 additions. Like, having a normal life is kinda nice, actually. So, I love that topic. It's like, keep stay right sized
Hmm.
and just keep moving
Hmm.
toward whatever it is that you feel like you wanna do or be at that moment. Like, we were just talking about death, dying. It's like, we're all gonna die.
Hmm.
It's capable, and some people are gonna die, in a
Hmm.
few months, hopefully not,
Hmm.
and then there's gonna be a few decades.
Hmm.
No, just
Yeah.
enjoy the ride and keep it real.
Hmm.
That's the thing. Did I answer that question?
Absolutely. Yeah. No. You definitely did. I think there's a so okay. So back in August of 2021, um, we completed a transaction to sell the business that I've been running for. I've been operating it for I don't know, like 12 years, I've been CEO of it for 5 years. It was my family's business. We were an industrial distribution company like Granger, Fastenal, for anyone out there who knows those companies. We did inventory management systems inside of big manufacturing companies' facilities. Johnson Controls was a big client of ours. All Clad Metal Crafters, the people who make the really beautiful pots and pans, there was another client, and then a bunch of OEMs for the automotive industry. Um, and we finished doing that, and then there was this question I have, like, well, okay, well, then what am I supposed to do next? Like, what is my career supposed to be? Because my identity had really become, I mean, everything for the 12 years had just been about that business. I had a period of about 3 or 4 years in there where I was never in the same place for more than, I think, 4 days for like over a 3 year period. I was just constantly, I had I had so many. I would Southwest Airlines would send me like 2 dozen free drink coupons every single month because it just made them more flights and whatnot. I would get on flights and would just start handing them out to everyone that I sat with. Um, and it was an exciting time, certainly, but it was singular in its focus. And I found that when I stopped, and had to figure out kind of what was gonna happen next, I think I struggled with that for a number of years. Um, after we was kind of coming out of COVID, that was kind of wild. The whole transaction took place over COVID. Um, and then I was trying to figure out, well, what comes, you know, what am I supposed to do next? And am I supposed to go to work for a really large company? And so I did a little bit of that. Interviewed the number of interviews I've had with large companies since then is like extraordinary. But I don't know. You mentioned the thing about being right size earlier, and I think it really, it took some humbling, and it was hard for me to accept that, okay, maybe this thing that I just did is going to be the biggest financial thing I do. Maybe that's the biggest company I'm ever going to run, build, whatever, and I still struggle with that. I think my wife and I talk about this a lot. Like what's the plan? What am I building this? Go to work for a much larger company. You and I have talked about that. Um, and and the reality is now, like, to go to work for a really large company, that means travel. That means I'm not here in my house. That means I didn't, get my daughter up this morning and get breakfast for her. That means I'm maybe not around for the birthday party last night for my mother-in-law. And I don't know if I really like that. I don't know if I really like that trade-off. Um, and I don't know. I think the truth for me is that some days it's I don't particularly like the trade-off. And then other days, no, I want to go after it. I want to be ambitious. I want to, and I don't know. It's just I don't have a clear answer on it. I think it's just something that I struggle with. And I think a lot of other people on here, and in Substack and LinkedIn and out, I think a lot of us are struggling with that because companies are changing. Uh, the ability to grow revenue is not necessarily directly attached to growing headcount anymore. Um, Amazon just laid off 14,000 managers, and I think another 15 or 16 are coming. Um, and so suddenly it's this thing of like, well, work hard, get the right degree, do the right thing, all of that, which I certainly bought into in my life. That doesn't guarantee the, you know, everything that we thought it was going to guarantee. And maybe we have to go and create something new for ourselves. And maybe that thing looks very different than what we previously thought ambition would look like. I don't know. I'm curious. Is anyone, Brennan, or anyone out there? Is anyone feeling this too, or experiencing any of this?
Of
Katie?
course. Yeah, I think everybody does.
I don't
You're
know.
absolutely right, and everything has a cost, and
Mhm,
that's what I was thinking about while you were talking about this,
mhm,
and the cost is a no everything has a price, a
mhm.
cost.
Yeah,
Success, your house, like, whatever,
yeah,
and that cost, it's not always money, that
right.
price, right? There's different currencies in life, and there's time, there's your
Mhm,
health, there's your relationships,
mhm,
there's there's different costs that you have to pay in order to achieve whatever goal it is you're trying to achieve.
right.
So, for the most part, for us,
Mhm,
keeping it real, it takes
mhm.
time.
It does, yeah.
It takes time and energy
Mhm,
and some investment. Like, you could do
mhm,
it cheaply, but there's still
mhm.
an investment of time and
Yep.
energy. And I like people have the right ideas, like, they watch us live
Mhm,
to get ideas about, like, okay, maybe I could build this business or do this writing, start this publication, do all these things. There's so many great opportunities, but
mhm.
there's still take a little bit of time and
Yeah.
then the right expectations. So what did Brendan write here? I think that there's a lot of identity tied up in ideas that are getting turned upside by
Upside
what
down.
it
Yeah.
means, by wider economic and social trends.
Yeah, I agree, Brennan. I agree, and I think, kinda to that point, um, about identity, I think one of the challenges I've found with, like, the whole personal brand and doing this, online, with started on LinkedIn, that's where you and I met and became friends. Um, it was the first time I really, publicly tried to build anything or regularly kinda spoke and, build an audience and, have built my I'm very proud of the audience I've built. Not nearly as big as the audience that you've built, my friend, but what I find is, challenging about that, and I wonder if others on here also have this challenge, is that I know I've thought a lot about while building the brand, about, like, Nike and, Apple and kind of these huge brands, or like the personal brand of Michael Jordan or Jeff Bezos or Bill Gates or like Warren Buffett, right? Or whomever. And there's like such consistency, and such discipline around it. And the reality is, as I've been building, like, I've been trying a lot of different things. I've tried I had 2 other newsletters before I got to Operating by John Brutin. I had this one, How for Why, and I was like, it was all about, like, the Start with Why, the Simon Sinek book, and it was like, how was, like, the operations, like, how you make your why happen, and then I had one for a while called the Failure Blog. That's actually what how my Substack started, was called the Failure Blog. I was like, I'm only gonna write about, like, stories of failure and ways I've failed and what I've learned from them and all this kinda stuff, and then ended up with Operating, by John Brutin, but you try different offers, you try different, and things are constantly kind of fluctuating. You're trying to figure out what works and how much attention should you pay to creating content that goes viral versus what should just be niched down and really speak to your expertise, and you can't get it all right. You can't get the perfect balance. You can't get the perfect 7-day cadence for your post. You can't, and you got to just keep kind of throwing stuff against the wall and figuring it out. And I guess part of what I'm thinking a lot about in 2026 is, okay, how do I start communicating my uncertainty to everyone out here? How do I do the work I really want to do and try to help, but also communicate, hey, this is what I'm trying, and maybe this will work, maybe that, I don't really I don't know all the answers. I don't have some master plan for how this works. I just know that I need to get up every day and keep executing and building and writing and publishing, and I'm hopeful
But
that
that
that will create something, you know?
But
Real.
that's how it works. You
Yeah,
just said
yeah,
it. Yeah, and
yeah.
I think people get wrapped up too much in, like, this what's supposed to be the perfect cadence or approach
Mhm.
or whatever, and you
Yeah,
just said it. It's like, just get up each day, keep doing this and that, and when it's
absolutely.
time to redirect, you do it. Some
Yeah.
things, like, I learned a couple things realizations, awarenesses that
Mhm.
came to me over time, over building this, like, whatever I built, is, one is to say I had to in the beginning, it was very emotional. I had these emotional attachments to growth, and I'd be like, "Well, this
Yeah.
person didn't comment on my post, and all this bullshit."
Yeah.
And then what happened was I had to detach from all of that, right?
Yeah.
Everything I had to get
Yeah.
non-emotional about all of this.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, I need to write an article today. Oh, you know what?
Yeah.
Substack, LinkedIn, Facebook, X, all these things, they're not going anywhere. And you know what? All those people, they
Mhm.
don't they're not waiting for you to do
No.
that either. So
No.
it's like, take care of yourself,
Mhm.
do the best you can. If you get something out today or every 4 hours or whatever you think that you're supposed to
Right.
be, do it. If not,
Mm.
if you need to, like, go outside and get fresh air and
Mhm.
go for a walk or go to the beach, I'm going to the beach, then
Nice.
do it.
Yeah.
Like, stay non-emotional. And the other
Mhm.
thing is this about the massive audience is that you
Mhm.
don't need a massive audience.
No.
What you need is trust.
Yes.
And you can build trust with
Mhm.
10,000 followers,
Mhm.
with a few thousand followers.
Mhm.
It depends on what your goal is.
Mhm.
If you like, let's go back to your business model. You talk
Mhm.
about Nike. Well, Nike has small margins, which are actually large compared to other competitors if you go deep
Right.
into it. But,
Right.
it's like if you're selling a a product or a service with really small margins, you need
Mhm.
to reach millions of people. If you're
Mhm.
selling a coaching service,
Mhm.
for 1,000 or 5,000 or $10,000 or whatever it is that you're doing,
Mhm.
you need to reach the right people. And if you
Mhm.
have a good foundation, a 5,000, 10,000, whatever your number is that you're achieving,
Mhm.
that that's plenty. And then focus on quality and
Mhm.
reaching the people that are going to send you 5,000, $10,000 for some sort of service.
Mhm.
It's important to
Yeah.
remember.
I I think
I,
I think also I think to that point, okay, so I had an experience. I'm curious if anyone else here has this experience as well. Um, so if you go, I think TikTok's really the best one for this right now in terms of like the interest-based graph. That's kind of where I want to shift. And one of the things that I've noticed is I'm a huge tennis fan. I'm a huge NBA basketball fan. I like collectibles, like sports cards and things, like that Golden show on Netflix. I'm completely obsessed with it. Um, and and then I'm also into academic thought leaders, business leaders. I love hearing what Scott Galloway has to say, Bill Ackman, Warren Buffett, Charlie Munger clips, like all that stuff. So I, if I go in on my feed on TikTok, I can I guarantee you I could get on the phone right now and go in there, and the next half hour, I could just scroll through video after video that is that set of things that I really enjoy, and I will really enjoy that half hour of my time. I'll see cool tennis videos, I'll see cool basketball videos, I'll see something about some cool autograph, game worn patch sports card that I've never seen before. And then I'll see some clip from Warren Buffett in the 1980s that saying some quote that I've never heard that I love and that I want to tell you about. Um, and I think that's where all this is going. And so I don't think I'm unique in thinking that. And so what excites me about that is that it becomes so much less than about follower growth, because followers is really kind of like the extension of email. You have build an email list, build followers, and that proportionally put you where you wanted to be in an algorithm. And you and I have certainly spent plenty of time trying to build followers. Um, but I think what's exciting about the interest graph, and you really what TikTok is optimized for, but I believe the other platforms are doing the same thing, is is that it's going to create a space where if you are creating great content about uh, cutting tools in manufacturing facilities or welding or baseball cards, football cards, like whatever, or like if you're creating content that people like, that content is going to get to those eyes. The nine out of 10 things that I would click like on or save on TikTok are not people I'm following or I've ever even heard of before. But I like it and I save it. I also noticed that in that environment, I save more things because I want to save it because I do want to share it with people. I want to share it with my tennis buddy when I go and play tennis with Christian. Oh my gosh, you got to see this incredible video of this guy's forehand. You got to like, and I don't know. I'm pretty excited about that. Is anyone else excited about that? Is anyone else thinking about that, or very welcoming of a world where followers are not the metric?
Yeah, I think that's me. Gary V brought that up a few like 6 months ago or so. He's like,
Absolutely.
because everything changed to
Yeah.
where like the type of content that we create that
Yeah.
you you and I met in a class that we took,
Yeah.
like a year and a half ago or so,
Yeah.
and everything was focused on creating, top of funnel content. For those who
Yes.
don't know, there's a content strategy. People know about their, a business funnel, a sales
Hmm.
funnel. You get people on top, you trickle down, blah, blah,
Yep.
blah, at the bottom comes people.
Right.
But there's also a content strategy funnel, and top of funnel content is where you reach a broad audience. You're not talking about trying to sell anything or
No.
display your expertise really too much, but
Hmm.
you want to have stuff that people are going to share. And then in the middle of the funnel is MoFu, and
Hmm.
that's where you start. Maybe there's case studies, or you display some of your expertise inside
Hmm.
that content. And
Yep.
then there's BoFu content. People who don't
Hmm.
know that bottom
Yeah.
of funnel, which is
Yep.
where you try to sell stuff or whatever it is that you're doing.
Hmm.
But we were taught growth. And this is what
Yeah.
I've been doing for many years too. Is
Yeah.
like if I say, here, I'm having a sale on my coaching services or on
Hmm.
my letter subscription today,
Hmm.
nobody's gonna share that. Very few people are
No.
gonna care. But if I talk about something inspirational and motivational to get you to improve your life and get
Hmm.
you excited, you're gonna share that with people.
Hmm. Hmm.
And we were taught only, to post BoFu content, and that's what's gonna facilitate massive growth. And
Right.
you'll see that with a lot of these big creators. It's all tofu, top of funnel content, so
Yes.
they can achieve massive growth.
Yes.
But what we were talking about, what John was just talking about for those that are, listening,
Hmm.
is that that doesn't matter anymore, because if your content is good and it's
Hmm.
interesting,
Yep.
it's going to be seen by
Hmm.
the people who are interested in that topic of
Yes.
content, if that makes sense. And AI is doing it, is facilitating a lot of this. AI and
Yeah.
technology is facilitating this. So
Yes.
it's like if John's interested in basketball, NBA,
Hmm.
and somebody's writing about that, even if they don't follow them and they live in another country, they're
Yeah.
gonna see if it's a decent post with good content or
Yeah.
video or whatever, you're gonna see that. So that changes the game, from
Hmm.
spending hours and hours creating the perfect post with the right content that your
Hmm.
ICP is gonna read. You
Hmm.
know, you don't have to do that anymore. You just have to make great content that people are gonna be interested in, and you're gonna reach people. But maybe not 1,000,000 people, but you'll reach,
Yeah.
100 of the right people.
Hmm. I do still think that a lot of what we learned relative to the formatting and uh, fonts and how to create things that are scroll stopping on any kind of place up and down the funnel is pretty critical. Um, but yeah, I think it's
But it's not the end game anymore.
no, and I think it's been interesting coming over to Substack because I find that I don't know about anyone else out there, and there are plenty of people on this who have larger. Owen Lewis just joined. Hi, Owen. Owen is another good buddy of ours from LinkedIn. Incredible AI, the AI engineer, I believe, is his Substack. Awesome stuff. Um, I get a lot of subscribers from Owen's recommendation of my Substack. So thank you, Owen. Um, but one of the things that I found different on Substack that I like is that I'm very tuned into uh the 4 and 5 star, like seeing how like the volume of my articles that different people are reading within my subscriber base. Um, and in some ways, I'm at times almost I'm at times almost less concerned with growing total subscribers than I am with just trying to grow the number of people within my subscriber base that are these 4 and 5 star, the people who are really reading a lot and consuming and engaging with the community and all of that. And that's very different than kind of any other platforms I've worked across. And so it's very like niche down. I also find that kind of the deeper down the nerd hole I go with things, the more engaged the more engaged people kind of get in what I'm doing, which is very different and I think very refreshing about the the platform itself. So I
Well,
like.
what you just said, everybody should really, like, latch onto is,
Mhm.
like, you wanna make sure that the right people are reading your stuff. Otherwise,
Yeah.
if all you wanna do is just write,
Mhm.
you can do that. Like,
Yeah.
you could do that on any platform.
Yeah.
If all you wanna do is just write and spend, 40 hours a week of your life
Mhm.
writing with no outcome other
Yeah.
than to write, you can
Mhm.
do that.
Mhm.
But if you wanna turn that into some sort of living, which
Yeah.
I'm assuming everybody here wants to do,
Sure.
you wanna at least generate some sort of something out of this,
Mhm.
then the primary metric should be, people that are genuinely interested in what you're talking about. So you could turn that into some sort of living or some sort of
Mhm.
revenue,
Mhm.
uh, if you want. I mean, like, maybe everybody has different goals, right? I
Mhm.
like money. I like my efforts to pay,
Mhm.
on some
Sure.
level. But, and I'm not worried about the growth as much as I used to
Mhm.
because I have some of it now, but it was a lot of work to get there. But
Sure.
just remember to stay in alignment with your goals, with your
Mhm.
values, stay
Mhm.
true to who you are, and just keep
Mhm.
working on that,
Mhm.
like, whatever that is, and focus on the right metrics. And
Mhm.
I love what you just said is like, if you're focused on the people that are actually reading your stuff,
Mhm.
the other 10,000 people don't matter, but if you have 100 that are, like, totally tuned into everything you have to say,
It's all that matters. Yeah.
that's more than 100,000 in my
Yep.
opinion. Does anybody
Absolutely.
else agree with that? That's what I
Yes.
think.
Sane. Yeah. Yeah.
And some of it I think is, I don't know, is a maturity. It's like, you know, I think getting through the and really understanding what this online
Mhm.
space is all about.
Mhm.
It's about building real connections, just like in real life. Like, what
Mhm.
all the computer is, all these online circles are, they,
Mhm.
like, took everything and made it in real life. Like, if you
Mhm.
look at what's Windows?
Mhm.
There's a notebook. They took all there's files. There's all
Mhm.
these things that used to be in real life, and they took them and put them inside of a computer.
Mhm.
That's Microsoft did that, and then Apple, uh, and that the other thing that we're supposed to do is build relationships.
Yes.
Like, we're building relationships with people all over the world, that's amazing.
Mhm.
Focus on the relationship building,
Yeah.
everything else follows.
I would add on that for anyone on here who's doing some of this too. Uh, when I started, when you and I met, and we were in a like a cohort, uh, learning how to build content in Canva and do all this stuff. Um, One of the things I started doing is at a Calendly, still have a Calendly, and I just started taking meetings with like everyone in the cohort, people who would start engaging with the content. Hey, I'd love to meet. Let's hop on a call. I do this on Substack now too. Like it's incredible. Like the number of people you will meet. Some of those can become absolutely can become business opportunities. Some of them become co-writing opportunities. Some of them become a Substack live that we do every week together. I mean, really, I mean, for everyone's awareness, like, I mean, Dennis and I were friends when we were on LinkedIn, but we've become closer now because we both kind of jumped over here at a similar time. And we just started talking about it and what are we doing and how are we doing, and all of this. And it's, yeah, been great. So,
That's the goal of everything, right?
yeah.
And Claudia just joined. I met her in, we haven't met yet, but
Hmm.
in, Justin's,
Hmm. Oh,
and,
cool. Nice.
yeah, so that's what this is about. It's about building relationships, and everything else is secondary to that.
Hmm.
And I think people try to rush through that part of it because
Hmm.
they think, "Oh, I can get here if I do this," and they're buying all the how to grow fast courses and all these
Hmm.
things, but you're bypassing the most important part, which is relationship building. That's what all this is, comes down to building relationships. You can't bypass that and be successful, in my opinion. Like, you can get sales, you
Hmm.
can, you know, grow some sort of business. But the goal is to build foundational relationships, and
Yeah.
you have to build like all successful businesses are built on a foundation,
Mhm.
and that foundation, it can't be made of glass. You know, it needs to
Mhm.
be strong, and it comes from relationships. And I think AI, that's going to be important
Mhm.
in the AI movement here, in
Mhm.
the transformation we're going through in the world, is
Mhm.
that we need to keep the humanness in the AI. Those who do that, those
Yeah.
who figure out how to keep the humanness
Mhm.
inside the automated AI microwave world that we're
Mhm.
living in right now,
Yeah.
the ones that are going to win, in my opinion.
Yeah. I agree. I think it's also interesting, I find that, with my own business, the kind of the biggest opportunities really still happen in person. I live in Washington D.C. They happen in the DMV here. My friend Ryan, who's on this, who he and I work together on things, um, and they happen they happen based on my 20 years of work experience prior to any of this. And so it's kind of like I have two different spheres where there's that side of things. And then there's this, personal brand that I've built and the newsletter and the content and all of that. And my time kind of gets split. Some weeks it's mostly this stuff. Some weeks it's more the other in person work. But it's kind of splitting in these two different directions. I also think that's different. I'm curious, uh Owen, if you have perspective on this or anyone has perspective where how many people are also having this experience where 10 plus years of your work life, 5 plus years, whatever, some period of your work life was solely devoted to the work of the titled job you were in, working for one company, and all of your effort had to be put towards that, towards the raise you wanted to get, the bonus you wanted to get, the stock options, like whatever. Um, and whereas now it's like, oh, okay, now I have to split my attention and split my efforts, which is certainly what I have to. I have to split that between, okay, working with in-person clients and doing larger engagements around mergers and acquisitions, around sell if someone wants to sell their company, if they're succeeding. I work with family businesses at times, looking at succession planning and helping the younger generation to come in to take over. I've helped with all kinds of technology implementations, and then the other part of the time, it's like, okay, well, how do I write this article and get it published on time? And I'm terrible at this on Substack. I'm horrible about my publishing cadence. Publish a
Me too.
lot, but I'm horrible. I really need to get a lot more discipline around it. And I'm sorry to everyone out there who's annoyed by that with me at times. But like, uh, but you just, it's this thing where it's messy and it's not going to be perfect.
That's a
And
I
is anyone else struggling with the having to split your attention now between a primary contracting gig and the content side of things, or having the big job with the title and then also trying to build this on the side on the weekends and evenings? Like, what's that like for people?
Yeah, and while we're waiting, I love that part, that topic too, because,
No.
years ago, 35 years ago, I was a chef, and
Yeah.
it was like when you
Cool.
go to work,
Hmm.
and I would go to work, it was like, depending on the restaurant, like 2 o'clock.
Hmm.
Prep for 3 hours, service starts at 5, and then
Hmm.
for 5 hours you're cooking, and then you clean up, and then you're done.
Hmm.
It was like everything was very, descriptive, it was finite, and that was it. You go home,
Hmm.
you go or I went partying or whatever, and then, that was it. Everything was defined. There's no clear lines on anything we do
Yeah.
here, right? So you do
Yep.
have to find that balance, and you have to be a dad and go to birthday parties also at the same time.
No.
So, Zane said so hard, content is like another full-time job. It
Yep.
is 100%. Then learning and keeping up with AI is also another full-time job. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like,
Yeah,
yeah,
I would people when people ask about, like, friends of mine see, like that they're like they don't know that I was publishing content on LinkedIn, and suddenly they see that I have like plus 30,000 people following me on there, and all these engagement on these posts and things, and like, oh my gosh, how did you do that? A lot. How did you do that? Oh, I want to start a newsletter. Oh, I have to work on my personal. Yeah, I hear this a lot. Um, and the truth of the matter is, I think if I were starting from day one now and I knew what I like I knew now, I knew every, I knew then what I know now, or however I'm supposed to say that. Uh, I just, I don't know that I'd do it. It was so much work.
Yeah.
It was like obsessing about like, literally guys, like every morning, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, I'm supposed to post at 7:31. It's 7:46. I'm screwed for the day. I'm like, "Oh my gosh, I got this off at 8:02, not 7:47, and oh, the impressions are down. Oh, it's terrible. Oh, the algorithm hates me. I'm shadow ban." No, it's just like, but I mean, and doing that on the weekends and doing that on commenting on a million different things, and oh my gosh, it was a lot of work.
That's why I said
It
in
was
the
a
beginning
lot of
of this.
work, man, and I don't know that all of it was really necessarily worth it. Like, I don't really know, like, some of it was, did for sure, but, like, some of it too, you look back and you're just like, "Oh my gosh," like, that was a lot of work for not a lot of return for quite a while, you know? Is like, is oof, it's hard.
That's why I said we in the beginning of this talk,
Yeah.
for those who weren't here in the beginning, I said stay non-emotional, as
Yeah.
non-emotional as possible. Like, detach from the emotion, detach from the outcomes, detach from the way you think people are supposed to behave, the amount
Yeah.
of love you're supposed to get, like, all these things are, like, remember, social media is it's a dopamine trap,
Right.
right? And they
Right.
know that, and it's designed to keep you there, and
Right.
so you can stay on there for 8 hours a day. I used to spend 4 or 6 hours a day on LinkedIn,
Oh,
and
sure.
now I try not to look more than 5 minutes a day. I have
Yeah.
a team that does some of that stuff now, but
Yeah.
it's
I
like
don't know if
if
this is I don't know if this is helpful to people or not. Like, I'm just trying to, it's like real talk, right? So I'm trying to just but I will, for I don't know, for anyone who finds this useful or not. So back in March of 20, I don't know, was it 24? Was it 24? Yeah. In March of 2024, I wrote a post on LinkedIn one morning about Andy Grove's High Output Management book, which is like my favorite management book of all time. Everyone should read it. Um, and and I wrote this post, picture of the book, about what this book meant to, like, with like a story about like about how I used it in a company. Intel replied to the post. I did not tag Intel in it, but Intel replied, and it pushed it out to like all of Intel's employees. And so this post got like 300 reactions, 8 reposts. You can see it's still there. And I was like, "Oh," and I had my first, all of a sudden, like 15 people that I didn't know followed me, and didn't want to connect, just followed me. I was like, "Oh." So then I started posting like pretty much daily from, like, I don't know, April, May onward, into the crickets, into silence, 2 reactions, 3 reactions, but every single day. Then I did the ship 30 for 30 thing with, Nicholas,
Cole,
who Cole, yeah, Nick Cole, and, what's his partner's name?
Bush,
Uh,
Dickie
And Dickie Bush, yeah. I did the ship 30 for 30 thing. I did Justin Welsh's thing. And then, his about their online courses. And then you and I met, I did Chris's cohort. And I did not, I mean, I think I had like 900 and some followers when I started Chris's thing. And like, I mean, but the point is, for months and months, posting into the void, no one responding, but every single day, starting to meet people, starting to reciprocate, be like, "Hey, oh, cool, you replied to my post. I'm going to go comment on your post. Oh, I got to get to, I have a friend of mine, Ali from Houston, works with a great company called Pricing IO now. He and I met through this process and started, he was like my first LinkedIn buddy. And we're still great friends to this day. He's a fascinating guy, brilliant. And, and then we went into Chris's thing and met, met you, met Owen, met a lot of other folks, and it's kind of like, but again, it's just this. It's like, I don't know. It was a long time and nothing before anything actually happened.
Yeah, yeah, and I think that's something that's central to what I work on with people, is
Hmm.
that you need to, like, if you wanna make $10,000,000, that's awesome, and that's totally achievable for anybody
Hmm.
who here who's listening. But you need to remember, it's like, "Alright, I wanna make $10,000,000. How much do you make now?"
Yeah.
"Well, $20,000. Well, you're not ready to you have to become the person who can
Yep.
make $1,000,000. Now, writing on social media doesn't guarantee any of that right away, and
Yep.
eventually you can become that, like, you eventually learn what's important, what's not
Yep.
important, how to write, create certain content, how to
Yep.
find visuals, how to start building relationships, how to do
Mhm.
outreach, which
Mhm.
platform should I cross on? Like,
Mhm.
and you need to come up with products and services that are gonna get you in alignment with your goals, with who you are,
No.
where you wanna go, and what
No.
your goals are, and then you need to become that person, and that
Yeah.
takes time,
Yeah.
you know? In the meantime, don't get caught in the dopamine trap and worrying about what other people think and how many likes you got and all these things
Yeah,
that
man.
aren't
It's like a
as
casino.
yeah, they're not as important as you
No.
think they are.
No.
What's important is that you continue to grow,
Yeah.
focus on, the right metrics, like
Mhm.
who inside your ideal client
Mhm.
profile, your CP, is actually interested in what you're doing. Look at them, not the
Mhm.
other, oh, 100 other 1,000
Mhm.
people. Don't
No.
focus on numbers, focus on the output because the
No.
output is gonna get you, uh,
No.
yeah,
I like what Brennan says here about focusing his newsletter on AI transformation. It's one topic, but this is what I like. So that's my bet for the next few years. It's the long runway, man. It's like that's how I feel about what I do now. It's like I'm looking out with this like 2, 3 years, just like keep writing about, I think the way companies operate is changing. I think the various types and sizes of companies are evolving given all the changes in the world. And so it's just like, yeah, just but have a very long, very patient runway to build, to build from. I think that's yeah. I mean, yes, on all counts, Brennan. I couldn't agree with you more, my friend.
yeah, and that's important to not, just 'cause this is exciting and what an opportunity it is to be able to build a business or a
Yeah.
audience or whatever it is that you wanna be building right now, but
Yeah.
it is a long game.
Yeah.
Very few people hit it big the month after they
Yeah.
start unless you're already famous. It's a
Yeah.
long game, so don't quit your job yet, don't yeah, like, what I tell people is that you have to finance your dreams.
Mhm.
Whatever that means, like, you have to if you have a job and you
Mhm.
find Substack and you you can start writing and building, audience or friends or
Mhm.
relationships, whatever you wanna do. Learn more about it, like, keep working though,
Mhm.
and, then eventually, like, you'll grow into who it is you wanna become. It's like
Yeah.
The Matrix. If nobody saw The Matrix at the end, Neo realizes he's the one, and he can,
Mhm.
like,
Mm.
bullets
Yeah.
and move the bullets out of the way,
Yeah.
and, like, everything fell into place, but that
Yep.
takes time. It took
Mhm.
time to get where you are now, it's gonna take
Sure.
time to where you wanna
Yes.
go.
Yes. Yes, and man, am I grateful for my wife's patience with me in letting me take the time I need to get to go where I need to go,
Yeah,
at points.
yeah,
Well,
yeah, all of us.
that's great. 9:50, are we at, like, a good stopping point, you think? Or, like, is
Yeah,
there
totally.
any other
Yeah, if there's
question or
any
anything you
other
wanna end
questions
on here, or
yeah. No, I think it's a great place to stop. I mean, I was gonna tell I went for a run before here,
Nice.
and I was listening to books and stuff when I'm doing that. I used to listen
Cool.
to Metallica, but that didn't get me very
Yeah.
far. So,
Yeah.
but I was listening to a neuroscience one, and
Cool.
it's about creating new neural pathways, which piggybacks on what I was just
Yep.
talking about,
Mhm.
and that is exactly what I'm talking about. It's like you
Yeah.
need to, like, dig into your brain, keep
Mhm.
chipping away and building these neural pathways that help you become the person that you wanna become, and
Mhm.
it takes time. A new
Yeah.
habit here, a new, thing here, a new
Yeah.
writing here, a new
Yeah.
a new, uh everything falls into place eventually when you dig those neural pathways.
Yeah.
And I was gonna talk about that a little bit because I think it's important for
Cool.
people to know. But in the meantime, I
Well,
am
let's pick
actually
up there next week. Why don't we start next week? And we'll kick it off, and I'll put a set of questions together for you on that topic, and then
yeah,
that's where we'll start.
I love that. That's great. And if anybody else has any contributions or topics
Yeah,
or questions or anything, please share them
yeah.
because that
The
helps us.
the other thing I would just close with two things. Number one, just something I'm doing right now that's really helpful. It was an Alex Hormozy recommendation, which if anyone doesn't follow him and know how legit and seriously phenomenally smart and useful his stuff is, you should learn a lot more about him. But he has this thing where he recommends when you're reading a book to listen to the audio of the book at the same time. And I've started doing that because I got those Meta glasses for Christmas. My wife got them for me. And I've started doing that, listening to the audiobook on Spotify and then reading at the same time. Read like literally listening to the sentence that I'm reading, and it's incredible for comprehension. And then lastly, I would also say, just because we've mentioned a few of these different names, I can't say enough good things about the Ship 30 for 30 guys and what they do. I can't say enough good about everything Justin Welsh does. I think what he does here on Substack is really cool too. um Chris Donnelly and everything that he's doing some really cool stuff now, I think, on search optimization relative to AI and whatnot. Will McTighe, who does Say What over on LinkedIn. I mean, Dennis and I were both friends of Will's, and we're involved in like the beta of that software when it was just beginning to develop. That's a phenomenal tool. But these are all just really wonderful people that have helped me a lot along the way, and just can't say enough good things about. So yeah, so definitely worth checking those folks out too. So
Yeah, that's a great place to
yeah.
and you're right. It's like, the best way to get where you wanna go is to
Mhm.
ask for help. I always say that.
Absolutely. Yep.
And that's a cool thing that gives you with online access and social
Yeah.
media, it gives you access
Yeah.
to people who you otherwise would not have
Yeah.
access. So,
Yeah.
you could find your way, take a course, read a book,
Yeah.
listen to some videos, but then
Yeah.
also take action. Like,
Yeah.
don't just rely on, watching a YouTube video, like, take action, start
Yep.
implementing what it is you
Definitely.
wanna do. So anyway,
I would also end with one more shout out because I just so I like giving people props for things. If anyone, we were talking about the top of funnel, middle of funnel, bottom of funnel stuff earlier on this. In my opinion, Owen Lewis, who's on this here right now and does the AI engineer Substack, his LinkedIn content with the difference between his top of funnel to like his niche down, very kind of technical engineering work, the design of it, all everything about how he does that, I think it's just top notch. It's top grade. It's really really good. He does it better than he does it as well as any of the best that I've seen do it. Definitely better than me. And definitely worth giving him a follow on LinkedIn too, and checking that out as well, because he's a really nice guy. He's a really nice guy. So say hi to Owen too. But anyway, thanks everyone.
alright, everybody, see you next week, 9 o'clock Eastern, and, have a beautiful week. If you need anything, let us know. Bye for now.
Thanks. Bye.
Yeah,